Welcome back to the channel. Today we're getting into something every man needs to hear before it's too late for him. We're breaking down 5 things women say that are serious red flags most guys completely ignore or make excuses for. Stay with me through all 5 because some of these might sound familiar, and that recognition alone could save you a lot of pain. Most men are sitting right next to a red flag, smiling, and completely missing what's happening right in front of them. The problem isn't that the signs aren't there. The problem is that nobody ever taught you what to actually listen for. Words are powerful, and what a woman says in certain moments can tell you everything you need to know about who she really is. Some of the biggest red flags don't come from what a woman does. They come directly from what she says and how she says it. A single sentence, said at the right moment, can reveal her character, her intentions, and how she really sees you as a man. But if you don't know what you're listening for, you'll walk right past those warnings every single time without even blinking. 1. I hate drama. But she creates it. Everywhere she goes. The moment a woman tells you she hates drama, pay close attention because that sentence is almost always a warning. In most cases, the women who say this the loudest are the very ones who are surrounded by chaos everywhere they go. It's one of the most common things you'll hear early in a connection, and it sounds completely reasonable on the surface. But experience will teach you that people who truly live drama-free rarely feel the need to announce it so boldly. Think about what it actually means when someone has to tell you who they are instead of just showing you through their actions. A genuinely calm, drama-free woman doesn't need to label herself that way because her life already speaks for itself quietly. When she leads with, I hate drama, she's often telling you about a pattern she's aware of, but hasn't taken responsibility for yet. And a woman who hasn't taken responsibility for her patterns will bring those same patterns directly into your life guaranteed. Watch how she talks about her friendships, her family, and her past relationships when you're just getting to know her. If every story involves conflict, fallouts, people who did her wrong, and situations that somehow always explode around her, take note. Drama doesn't just randomly follow certain people. It's usually created or attracted by the energy they carry into every room. If she's the common denominator in every chaotic story she tells, that's the real information you need to be paying attention to. Picture a man who meets a woman who seems fun, engaging, and refreshingly upfront about not being into drama at all. A few weeks in, she's arguing with her best friend, has fallen out with her sister, and is upset about something he said 3 days ago. He's confused because she seemed so easygoing and self-aware when they first started talking and getting to know each other. But the signs were there from the very beginning. He just didn't know what he was actually listening for at the time. 2. My ex was crazy. The story. She always tells every man has heard this one at least once, and most of us nodded along without stopping to think about it deeply. She sits across from you, tells you about her past relationship, and the ex is always the villain in every single story. He was controlling, he was jealous, he was unstable, he was this, he was that. And she was completely innocent throughout. And because you like her and want to believe her, you accept the story without asking the questions you really should be asking. Here's the truth that most men don't want to sit with. It takes 2 people to create a dynamic in any relationship. When a woman describes every past relationship as a disaster caused entirely by the other person, something doesn't add up. It doesn't mean her ex was a great guy or that she's lying. It means she has zero self-awareness about her own role. And a woman with no self-awareness about her past will repeat the exact same patterns with you without even realizing it. The red flag isn't that she had a bad relationship. Everyone has been through something difficult and painful in their past. The red flag is that she has no reflection, no accountability, and no acknowledgement that she played any part at all. Listen for whether she ever says anything like, I could have handled that better, or I wasn't easy to deal with either. Those small moments of honesty reveal a level of maturity and self-awareness that makes a woman genuinely safe to be with. Also pay attention to how she talks about her ex in terms of the emotion and energy behind the words she uses. If there's still a lot of heat, anger, or obsession in how she describes him, she hasn't fully moved on yet emotionally. An unhealed woman will make you pay for what someone else did, and you'll spend the relationship answering for his mistakes. Take the "my ex was crazy" story seriously. Not as gossip, but as a window into how she processes relationships and people. 3. I'm not like other girls. The biggest warning sign of all. When a woman tells you she's not like other girls, what she's really doing is selling you an image before you can form your own opinion. It's a setup. She's asking you to see her as special and different before she's actually shown you anything that proves it. Confident, self-assured women don't need to separate themselves from other women to feel valuable or interesting to a man. The ones who do are usually deeply insecure and looking for validation disguised as a casual offhand comment. This phrase is also a subtle dig at other women, and that alone should tell you something about her character immediately. A woman who puts other women down to elevate herself is showing you how she handles comparison, competition, and insecurity. And if she does it to other women freely, it's only a matter of time before that same critical energy gets directed at you. Watch how she speaks about other people in general. It's one of the clearest windows into her true character you'll ever get. The deeper issue here is that she wants to be treated as an exception before she's earned that position with you. She wants special treatment, extra patience, and a different set of rules, all based on a claim she made about herself. But real uniqueness doesn't need to be announced. It reveals itself naturally through how a person thinks, acts, and treats others. If she has to tell you she's different, there's a very good chance she's exactly like the version of herself she's trying to distance from. So when you hear this phrase, don't dismiss it and don't argue with it. Just watch what comes after it closely. Let her actions over time either confirm or completely contradict the image she tried to set up for you early on. Stay observant, stay patient, and let reality do the talking instead of getting swept up in how she's framed herself to you. The truth about who someone is always surfaces eventually. Your job is just to be paying attention when it does. 4. You're too good for me. What she really means by this. This one sounds humble, sweet, and even a little endearing the first time you hear it from a woman you really like. You think she's being vulnerable, honest, and refreshingly self-aware about the dynamic between the two of you. But in most cases, this phrase is either a test, a warning, or a way of protecting herself from full commitment. And if you're not paying attention, you'll miss what she's actually communicating beneath those 5 simple words. When a woman says you're too good for her, she might be telling you she knows she can't meet your standards consistently. She's aware of something about herself, her behavior, her lifestyle, or her intentions, that she hasn't fully disclosed to you yet. It's almost like a soft disclaimer she's putting out there, so she can reference it later if things go wrong between you. I told you from the beginning you were too good for me, becomes her exit line when she eventually disappoints you down the road. This phrase can also be a test to see how you respond, and whether you'll lower your standards to make her comfortable. If you immediately say, "No, you're perfect," and start over-reassuring her, you've just shown her you can be easily managed. She now knows that a little self-deprecation is all it takes to get you to soften your expectations and overlook red flags. And some women, whether consciously or not, will use that knowledge to their full advantage throughout the relationship. Don't panic when you hear it, but don't brush it off or drown it in reassurance either. Just take it seriously. Ask yourself why she feels that way, observe her actions closely, and let her behavior answer the question she just raised. A woman who says this and then consistently shows up with effort, honesty, and respect was probably just being vulnerable with you. But a woman who says it and then proves it with her actions was actually giving you the most honest warning you'll ever receive. 5. I just need my space. When it means more than she's saying. Everyone needs space sometimes. That's completely healthy and normal in any relationship between two people. But there's a big difference between a woman who needs healthy alone time and one who uses space as a way to disconnect. When I need space starts coming up regularly and without clear explanation, it's time to pay close attention to the pattern. Because in many cases, space is not what she's actually asking for. It's distance, and those two things are very different. Healthy space looks like, I need a quiet evening to recharge and I'll talk to you tomorrow morning. Red flag space looks like going cold, becoming unavailable, and offering no real timeline or explanation for the withdrawal. One is a woman who knows herself and communicates her needs clearly and respectfully like a mature adult. The other is a woman who uses distance as a tool, either to punish you, test you, or quietly explore other options. Pay attention to what happens just before she asks for space every single time this pattern shows up. Did you have a conversation she didn't like? Did you assert a boundary, or did things start getting more serious between you? If space always follows a moment where you showed strength or the relationship deepened, that's a pattern worth examining carefully. Some women use space to regain control of a dynamic they feel is shifting away from their favor and comfort zone. Picture a man who has a great week with a woman. Deep conversations, real connection, and everything feeling genuinely promising. Then out of nowhere she pulls back, goes quiet, and says she just needs a little space without any real explanation given. He panics, starts over-texting, and tries everything to bring back the warmth they had just days before all of this. What he doesn't realize is that his reaction to her space is telling her far more about him than the connection ever did. 6. We're just friends. The line that should make you pay attention. This is one of those phrases that sounds completely innocent but carries a lot of weight depending on the context it's said in. When a woman says, "We're just friends," about another man, your job is not to panic. It's to observe carefully and quietly. Because the way she says it, when she says it, and who she says it about can tell you a tremendous amount about the situation. A woman who is fully committed and transparent doesn't usually need to over-explain or over-emphasize a male friendship to you. Pay attention to how often this particular friend comes up in conversation and under what kind of circumstances he appears. If he's texting late at night, if she lights up when she talks about him, or if she gets defensive when you ask questions, take note. Defensiveness around just a friend is one of the clearest signals that there's more to the story than she's sharing with you. A woman with nothing to hide doesn't usually react to simple questions with irritation, deflection, or accusations of insecurity. The just friends line also gets used to test how secure you are and whether you'll become controlling or jealous about it. If you react with anger or ultimatums, she'll use your reaction to paint you as the problem and shift focus away from her behavior. The smart move is to stay calm, stay observant, and let your eyes gather information while your mouth stays quiet and controlled. Jealousy hands her the power. Composure keeps it firmly in your hands where it belongs in this kind of situation. What you're really looking for here is consistency between what she says and what she actually does over time. Does she mention this friend openly and naturally? Or does information about him only come out when you ask directly? Is she transparent about her time, her plans, and her communication? Or do things feel slightly hidden and evasive around him? Trust is built on consistency and openness. And a woman who has nothing to hide will almost always choose to show you that clearly. 7. You always, or you never. The words that reveal everything. When a woman starts using the words "you always" or "you never" in arguments, something important is being revealed right there. These are absolute statements, and absolute statements in conflict are almost never actually true or fair to the person receiving them. You never listen to me. You always make everything about yourself. These phrases shut down conversation instead of opening it. And a woman who communicates this way during conflict is showing you a pattern that will define how she handles every disagreement. Healthy conflict between two people involves specific issues, specific moments, and a genuine desire to find resolution together. But you always, and you never, are weapons. They're designed to overwhelm you, put you on the defensive, and win the argument. When you're suddenly defending your entire character instead of addressing one specific issue, the real problem gets completely buried. And that's often exactly the point. To make the conversation about you so the original issue never has to be fully addressed. This communication style also reveals how she processes frustration, disappointment, and unmet expectations in a relationship. Instead of saying, "It hurt me when you did this specific thing," she reaches for the biggest, broadest accusation available to her. That's not a woman working through a problem with you. That's a woman trying to make you feel guilty enough to back down completely. And if backing down is what ends the argument, she's learned that this strategy works, and she will absolutely use it again. Here's the constructive criticism part, and this one is important, so really pay attention to what's being said right now. Some men stay in these cycles because they'd rather keep the peace than address the communication problem directly and honestly. But accepting this pattern without addressing it doesn't keep the peace. It just delays a bigger explosion somewhere down the road. You owe it to yourself to require better communication, not aggressively, but firmly and consistently every single time it comes up. So there you have it. 5 things women say that are serious red flags every man needs to recognize and take seriously. None of these phrases are automatically a death sentence for a relationship, but they are signals you should never ignore. The difference between a man who thrives in relationships and one who keeps getting hurt is simply awareness and attention. When you know what to listen for, you stop being blindsided and start making smarter, more intentional decisions about who you let in. Here's the uncomfortable truth that most men need to hear. You are not responsible for fixing a woman's patterns for her. You can be patient, you can be understanding, but you cannot love someone into self-awareness they're not ready to develop. Recognizing red flags early isn't about being cold or suspicious. It's about respecting yourself enough to pay attention. A man who knows his worth doesn't ignore warning signs and hope for the best. He sees clearly and acts accordingly. Start listening more carefully from this point forward, not with paranoia, but with quiet, confident awareness in every interaction. The words people use, especially under pressure, will always tell you more than their best behavior ever will on a good day. You have everything you need to navigate this smarter, stronger, and with a lot more clarity than you had before today. Growth starts the moment you decide that what you allow into your life is just as important as what you go after. Now I want to hear from you directly in the comments section right below this video today. Which of these 5 red flags have you personally experienced, and what happened when you ignored it or finally paid attention? Drop your story below and I will personally engage with every single comment because your experiences matter deeply here. This is a space for real, honest conversations between men who are choosing to level up, and I'm glad you're part of it.